In the sleepy town of Crosse, Wisconsin, a Friday evening in October 1953 seemed like any other until one teenage girl stepped into the unknown. Her name was Evelyn Hartley, a quiet, responsible 15-year-old, trusted with a routine babysitting job. But that evening, Evelyn would disappear without a trace, leaving behind only haunting clues and unanswered questions. To this day, the mystery of Evelyn Hartley's disappearance remains unsolved, a puzzle with no pieces that fit. What really happened that night, and why does this case, even decades later, still leave us questioning everything? It was around 6:30 p.m. when Evelyn arrived at the home of Professor Viggo Rasmussen to babysit his 20-month-old daughter. Evelyn's parents expected her to check in hourly, just as any teenager would on a casual night of babysitting. But soon, the quiet suburb would become the epicenter of a nightmare. Let's be honest, most of us don't even want to call our parents once an hour. But Evelyn was responsible, maybe too responsible for her own good. When Evelyn's father, Richard, didn't receive her regular call, he began to worry. An hour passed, then two, with no word from his daughter. His concern grew into urgency. Richard decided to drive to the Rasmussens' home to check on Evelyn himself, but when he arrived, the house was silent, too silent. He rang the doorbell, but no one answered. What he found when he entered would stay with him for the rest of his life. Inside, signs of a struggle were everywhere. A shoe lay abandoned on the floor, a pair of broken glasses, bloodstains. The La Crosse Police Department launched a massive search. Hundreds of volunteers scoured fields, rivers, and nearby neighborhoods. But as the search continued, strange clues began to emerge. Someone had cut the basement window screen. It looked like an intruder had come prepared. A scuffed handprint on the windowsill, like someone had crawled through. Inside, muddy footprints led from the basement to the first floor. And worst of all, small pools of blood were found in the living room. Blood that, tragically, was soon confirmed to be Evelyn's. But who would commit such a brutal act against a quiet girl in a quiet town? And where did they take her? In the days that followed, the police pursued every lead. Witnesses reported a strange car seen in the area, a maroon-colored Ford. Some even claimed to have seen a man struggling with a young girl inside. Yet, despite dozens of interviews and extensive investigations, every suspect vanished like smoke. At this point, even Sherlock Holmes would have thrown up his hands and said, "I'm out!" But the truth was, Evelyn was gone without a trace, and for her family, every day was a silent agony, wondering where was she and would they ever see her again? Over the years, countless theories have been proposed. Some believe that Evelyn was kidnapped by a stranger who happened to be passing through. Others suspect a more sinister motive, perhaps someone from her town, someone familiar with her routine. But the lack of evidence only fuels the mystery, making each theory as plausible or implausible as the next. Maybe it was someone she knew, someone who blended in so well they were never questioned. Chilling, isn't it? The case, however, remains a dead end. Every few years, Evelyn's name surfaces again. Another generation captivated by the girl who vanished without a trace. But with no new leads, no DNA evidence, and no witnesses left to come forward, will the truth ever come to light? Evelyn Hartley should have been safe that night, just a teenage girl babysitting in a small town. But something or someone turned her world upside down. Now, her name is etched in history, not for what she did in life, but for the haunting mystery of her disappearance. So as we close this story, ask yourself, could someone out there still know what happened? Is it possible the answer lies hidden, waiting to be uncovered? Or is this one of those rare, unsolvable mysteries that will forever haunt the quiet town of Crosse? And as you double-check your locks tonight, remember sometimes the biggest mysteries come from the smallest towns. And if you're intrigued by mysterious disappearances, don't miss the story of the Sauter family, a case that has left more questions than answers for decades. Just click here to watch now.